This video covers food recipes that include the preparation of animals, including their death. It is intended for educational purposes in hopes of fostering a better understanding of the ethics surrounding food consumption.
Y'all, let's make a crab boil in the air fryer. Listen, don't knock it till you try it. So first I boiled my potatoes first, then I washed my corn really good, added my corn, and then I seasoned it with some Old Bay seasoning. I used a little bit of Creole seasoning. Use whatever seasoning you would like. I used a little extra seasoning because I like my crabs seasoned. Then I had a couple blue crabs. My air fryer is kind of small, so I only could fit like 2 or 3. So I went ahead and put the 2 crabs in the bowl. I was scared, so I was like jumping because they were live. Did I mention that? And then I went ahead and seasoned my blue crabs with some Creole seasoning. I added some Old Bay seasoning. I added a little bit of crab seasoning. And when I tell y'all, I went ahead and turned my air fryer on, I believe 395 or 400. I used the fish setting because it didn't have a crab setting, and I let them cook for about 15 minutes. Now, do not knock it until you try it. It was kind of sad watching them kind of, but these crabs came out so good and juicy. I was not expecting them to come out this good. I ate both of those crabs in like 2 minutes. I will be air frying my crabs from now on. I thought they were going to be dried out, but they were perfect. You can see they're still kind of moving. But I did let them cook for the whole 15 minutes, and here they are. They are done. You can even see there was a little bit of juice at the bottom of the bowl. Y'all, 10 out of 10. You can even see the meat. So good, y'all. Bye.
Food is so personal, and how we feed ourselves is so cultural. It's specific to our bubbles. Recently, a video went viral on, I guess, food TikTok, but also TikTok in general.
Instead of boiling her crabs like a normal person, this woman on TikTok decided to air fry her crabs while they were still alive.
Why are y'all in y'all feelings because this lady put her crabs in the air fryer? Like, why are y'all in y'all feelings about that? So you have a problem with this lady putting the crabs inside of an air fryer. So don't majority of y'all put the crabs in boiling water?
I think it's necessary for us to see how food is prepared before we ingest it, to really ask ourselves, is this ethical? Is it moral? I want to talk about this because I am a foodie, I guess you could say. I'm always on TikTok. I'm always looking for recipes. And recently, I've actually become plant-based after doing a 30-day vegan challenge. And though I understand veganism is a philosophy, not a diet, I'm currently in the plant-based diet bubble because I think it coincides with my own journey around the efficacy of consuming animal life. What I'm trying to figure out is, what do vegans know that actually is universal? I'm using that very loosely here, that could actually be better for us in general, because I think every philosophical system has the answers, but it doesn't have all the answers. So
you mentioned that, and then I tangented. I think I think it's been just a specific passion that I've can't come away from, despite even maybe wanting to. But I think it really is there is a root of all evil in exploiting animals. So think of all the justifications that people have used to exploit human beings. They're not as smart, they're different, their appearance is different, it's in our nature. Like all these things that we've said that have stopped progression, all these arguments we use and exploiting them, I think is the same justifications that lead to all exploitation. So it's not necessarily, it has all the answers.
And I'm not quite there yet from a vegan perspective, but I do respect that everyone's on their own journey. And if you were a meat eater, I'm not here to judge that process, as I used to have meat as my identity. I was literally Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm not judging you.
You're awfully cute, but unfortunately for you, you're made of meat.
I think instead what I propose is an opportunity for us to sit and ponder and meditate after watching a video like this go viral and seeing all communities get very upset with this woman. Why was everyone so upset that this woman cooked her crabs in this particular fashion?
I think what a lot of people are missing about this crabs in an air fryer situation is that a lot of people choose to be inhumane because humanity is foreign to them. Now, after I saw the video, I went to the comment section because I wanted to see what are the comments that she's liking. Y'all acting like when you buy seafood or pre-cooked crab and people making them don't have to do this. And then she said, hello, y'all acting like y'all don't boil them alive. She likes it. When you go to a restaurant and you pick out your lobster, they are alive and they put them in boiling water alive. Again, she likes it as well. But the simple fact that this woman is acting like there's no humane ways to do it, and even liking comments about inhumane ways to kill other animals is pretty shocking. Shocking to you guys, not shocking to me, because what we fail to realize is that in a society, although we all look like humans, a lot of people are not humane individuals. A lot of people turn a blind eye when they see police brutality. A lot of people turn a blind eye when they see children locked in cages at the border, because humanity only exists in individuals who understand sympathy and empathy. And you guys are going to have to face the fact that there are a lot more inhumane people than you think.
There are a multitude of ways to cook crabs, from freezing them before boiling them to throwing them straight in the pot while they are kicking and moving. I even found some videos of people knifing them just straight up. Even though the videos are disturbing, I think it's kind of interesting that a majority of the world consumes meat and seafood and sort of has a disconnect from how their food gets from the wild to their table.
I hate to break it to you, but I'm afraid that our food processing industry does involve killing a lot of animals.
And I do think this is just an opportunity for us to talk about it.
Death in farming is both inevitable and relentless, but it has never been further from our minds.
This is the bit that people really don't like to see, don't like to deal with, don't like to think about.
So let's talk about it. I'm uncomfortable with the way people cook crabs and lobsters.
Now, many people prefer female because in this female, when it's cooked, there is what's called the coral by the consumer. It's actually the ovary, and it's bright red. It's kind of waxy in consistency, but many people do like to eat that.
I'm uncomfortable watching this video of this woman cook her crabs in an air fryer. I'm uncomfortable. I'm not quite horrified the way that some vegans have expressed their horrification at seeing animals slaughtered. I grew up, eating meat my whole life. My brother has a farm for his family, and I've been there during slaughter. I'm not that icked out by animal meat or eating animals. I did find a cooking video featuring camel, and it did almost give me the ick, but then another part of my brain was kind of curious on what it tasted like. But I did feel some revulsion watching the video, which is interesting.
All right, here we go. We've got the camel hump right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now we're talking. That is what we were missing. Crispy, sweet, and fatty. I love it.
I'm plant-based, but my partner isn't. I'm not icked out in the way some other people are. And I think that comes from my fundamental belief that we're animals on a planet evolved over millions of years. And so I kind of see it as the circle of life. And yet, why am I plant-based? Why do I continue not to eat animal products? A big part of it is that I'm on a personal journey of deconstructing my relationship with food, but specifically about harm reduction in the long run.
I'm not a vegan. I'm going to eat some meat somewhere. Yeah, if you want to save the planet, kill yourself and one less person.
But do you not think there's accountability and responsibility for us to think about other things apart from killing ourselves?
Nope.
Isn't that quite futile and defeatist?
Yes, granted, you're a little young guy who wants to save the world. Hey, you're not going to do it. The best impact you could have is die. Do you not want to die for the planet?
Not really, no.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I think a lot of people have really good intentions in the world. And so instead of having more good intentions, I think I'm just trying to be less bad every day.
Let's buy an octopus. They won't let go. They're suctioning to the bag. Hey, ow, it's biting me. It's biting me.
Wow, this is such a sick looking octopus. Really cool, man.
You need to put olive oil on them to make sure that their suction cups don't stick to your windpipes. Some oil. All right, here we go. Oh!
When I see this video of the blue crabs, I am disturbed. And I think to myself, I don't need to do this.
Let me tell you something. 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 Wait. Hold on. Hey, wait. No. Wait. Both of you guys. What do you want to say? Double check. Safety. Double check. No!
And I think that's so powerful to say, I could do something else.
Dog meat is available in South Korea, but not for much longer. It will soon become illegal to sell or purchase dog meat for human consumption. But it's not illegal yet, so I got 2.5 pounds of dog meat.
For me, when we talk about philosophy, this is a philosophy through pop culture channel. Hello, my name is Brittany Simon. If you're new to my channel, we are a philosophy channel. The love of wisdom. Why do we do what we do? And if I ask myself, why do I eat what I eat? Why do I eat the way that I do? How can I reduce harm every day? How can I be a little less bad? For me, it feels pretty easy in quotation marks, though it has been an internalized journey of not eating animal-based products. And even though I believe we're evolved animals over millions of years and there is a circle of life, I also believe you can have a deeper relationship with that life. I don't believe in God or the afterlife or heaven or hell. I don't believe in sins. I don't even really believe in bad people. I believe in bad people in a philosophical sense, but not in a literal judgmental sense. I think humans are products of their environment, genetics, and so many other things. But also, our free will is limited based off of so many factors and includes the reality that we're evolved animals. So when I think of people's free will in relation to how they ingest food, I have to understand that it's limited. And only through introspection and extrospection can we have a deeper relationship with that free will, that choice. All of my life, I ate meat. All of my life, I bragged about meat. All of my life, my personality was meat.
Apparently, the playwright thinks I'm an idiot who tells bad jokes about meat all the time.
Yeah, you tell bad jokes about plenty of other topics.
I know!
As I got older and I went on this journey and I challenged myself, I realized, oh, this is unnecessary suffering.
If you've ever cooked lobster for dinner, you might have boiled it alive thanks to the idea that it can't feel pain. But how would you even know if lobster pain is like human pain? It's not like you can ask the lobster, hey, is the water too hot for you? Luckily, their anatomy and behavior can give us some clues about how they're feeling. Anatomy-wise, lobsters don't have the same pain-relaying fibers that we have, but they do have pain receptors. We just don't know if those receptors sense pain in the same way we do. We can, however, see how they behave. For example, if crustaceans have an irritated antenna, they'll rub it and protect it from further injury. And they don't do this if scientists numb their antenna. These behaviors and receptors suggest they might process pain, but maybe through a different mechanism than humans. So some chefs quickly cut into their heads before boiling, just in case.
This is a lobster, and I'm gonna go ahead and cook it and give you my opinion on whether or not they feel pain. Now, a lot of research lately has been centered around the question of whether or not crustaceans and lobsters feel pain. And since reading the articles on both sides of the spectrum, I decided I was just gonna go ahead and start dispatching the lobsters before cooking them. What you're gonna do is just take your knife and put it right in that spot I just showed you there with the knife tip and just plunge it down. This seems to be the most humane way to dispatch them before cooking them, but there are other ways to do it as well.
This is unnecessary suffering, unnecessary harm. And for me, that was a life-changing realization. And I don't know how long it will last. I don't know if I'll be plant-based for the rest of my life. I just know for right now, this era of my life, I seem to be pretty happy and it coincides with my joy to be plant-based. And I just want to offer that idea up to you, not as a judgment, but as an opportunity to do something else.
I'm gonna be that vegan and weigh in on the whole air frying a crab alive debacle. I think it's a really interesting phenomenon to watch people who eat meat try to advocate for the humane slaughter of this crab. My unpopular vegan opinion is that humane slaughter is the dumbest oxymoron that we as humans made up to make ourselves feel better about mass murdering animals. You can't humanely slaughter something that doesn't want to die. If you eat animals, it shouldn't matter if you burn them or boil them alive. Also, you ever notice how anyone who talks about it starts off with, I eat meat, but this crab, wrong, like wrong. You see how you even have to justify it to yourself? There's just like so many things that if you think about it too much, you might end up going vegan. At least that's what happened to me. Like, did you know that cows have to be pregnant to produce milk? I know that sounds like duh, of course, but think about it. If cows have to be pregnant to produce milk, what do you think they do to the cows to make them get pregnant?
I also noticed that if you go plant-based or vegan, philosophically or diet-wise, you end up bringing a lot of harm reduction when it comes to trafficking in relation to the seafood industry, harm to animals, unnecessary food waste, environmental impact. And so it just seems to be a benefit all across the board to do this. And though I'm not, again, making a prescription or saying you should do it too, it would radically change the state of the world if people technically did it.
I'm here at a dog meat restaurant in Vietnam, and I just wanted to show you what dog meat looks like for all the people that don't believe it's really a thing. We do have people eating dog meat here in Vietnam. This is real.
And I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to tell you what I'm doing. And whether or not it impacts the world for the greater in some mass way, I don't know. But it's impacted my own life. I feel a lot better. My money goes a longer way. And I'm still eating delicious meals. I'm finding new ways to be creative.
The most successful cuisine in the world is emptying the ocean. You see this fillet of salmon? It's got no salmon inside. The most successful cuisine in the world is Japan. And Japanese cuisine is emptying the ocean. So one of the biggest challenge people face when they decided to go for a plant-based diet is not being able to have a plate of sushi or a plate of maki roll, sashimi, tuna nigiri. So I thought, as a chef, I really have to do something about it. I need to come up with something which tastes like tuna without tuna. That was a massive challenge. And it took us months and months and months to develop something that now really looks like the most delicious pieces of tuna you ever had. On more than one occasions, we have had people to whom we have served a plate of sushi and sashimi, all plant-based. And they call the waiters or the waitress and they say, what is this? I'm plant-based. And tell them, this is all plant-based. Don't worry.
And I'm introducing new things into my diet every day that I would have probably ignored and just eaten some chicken. I think I'm excited at the discovery of it all. And I think that's what philosophy is. Philosophy is sort of a love of discovery. It's a love of going deeper with our own limited understanding of self and our place in the universe, and realizing like there are other ways to live life. Imagine you're at a restaurant and you just discovered a new thing you never knew you've been missing out on. You're like, I can't believe I lived my whole life without eating this amazing meal. That's how I feel, only philosophically. When I discover a new idea or I find a new way to exist on the planet that makes me feel very happy and joyful, I can't believe I lived my whole life without this. I hear a lot from the vegan bubble that their biggest regret is not going vegan sooner. And I have lots of regrets similar to that. Like, oh, I wish I advocated for this faster, or I wish I did this sooner, or I wish we all have those moments. I wonder about that. I wonder when I'm going to wake up and wish I'd gone plant-based sooner. But I will tell you this, though I'm not at the stage where I wish I'd gone plant-based sooner, I am at the stage where I wish I had discovered plant-based eating earlier. At any other time in my life, I've been missing out. I've been missing out on smoked tofus. I've been missing out on just different ways to enjoy food. And I love food so much. And I think that's the regret, is like, I missed so many opportunities to really enjoy a meal. I think there is a way to enjoy our food without torturing it before we consume it. So again, I'm not making a prescription. I'm just asking us as individuals to consider how our consumption is a part of harm reduction, or in some cases, amplifies the harm. I think this woman, and I'm not sure why she did it, more than anything, it calls into question animal consumption across the board. Why were meat eaters so upset about this video? And why are they not upset about factory farming or anything else? To be fair, and I think this is why I wanted to show you the video. Until I had seen enough of the videos of factory farming, enough animals getting tortured unnecessarily, I couldn't consume meat or dairy products from stores without feeling slightly worried that I was eating something from an animal that had been tortured. I feel similarly to when I consume, or when I used to buy fast fashion. I try very hard to make sure that I no longer buy from fast fashion, or that I try to get as ethically sourced materials as possible. And this is difficult, which is why I don't make a prescription. I'm just saying that doing a little bit of due diligence can end up being better in the long run for you and the planet, but it's not about being perfect. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you only to consider what if. And I think that's all we can ever ask anybody. Like, what if? What if this was the world we lived in?
I'm the only person that doesn't give a about these crabs in the air fryer. Like, don't get me wrong, I do think it's inhumane how she slaughtered the out of these crabs, but at the same time, I feel like that's how we treat majority of animals. So I don't understand why everybody's up in arms about the crab. Hear me out. I feel like more people are upset that she recorded it, not that she actually did it, because chickens, pigs, cows, I mean, they all get slaughtered in the most inhumane way possible. I mean, we just don't see it because they're in factories. It's more of like an out of sight, out of mind thing. I feel like because she did it on camera, everybody's upset, but I'm just like, if you eat meat, babes, you're eating a slaughtered, inhumane animal. I don't know.
I just think it's interesting the way people, get on these apps every day and talk about, how awful the world is and how cruel everybody is, but we don't look at ourselves. And I think it was like a rude awakening for me to look at myself and to think, how am I participating in unnecessary harm? One of the last thoughts I have in regards to this, which I kind of was laughing at, but in an ironic kind of way, is those memes of, I'm not going to your house for dinner because I don't know how clean your kitchen is. I feel like I'm not going to your house for dinner because I don't know how much you tortured your food before we ate it. And that is something to think about individually and societally. We always think of cleanliness and we're afraid of disease. What if you're just afraid of eating an animal that was like horribly tortured, and then you're enjoying it, and then you have to have that realization that you really are just eating flesh.
For many, the force feeding of ducks and geese to expand their livers is animal cruelty. We visited one of the last foie gras farms in the US to see how the ducks are raised and fed. Right now, the farm gets a shipment of 10,000 new ducklings every week.
They were 4 weeks in the nursery, 8 weeks here before they go to the gavage.
The gavage is the force feeding process. The ducks are fed a mixture of corn and soy 3 times per day for 3 weeks.
We're not harming them, we're making them happy by feeding them.
Marcus says the force feeding replicates how wild ducks will gorge on food before migration. But some veterinarians disagree.
When the liver enlarges to 10 times its normal size during this force feeding, that's not what happens with migratory birds and migratory ducks. The cells are impaired.
The duck's liver weighs nearly 2 pounds at the end of the force feeding period.
You really are just eating flesh or eating a conscious being. And that's interesting to think about, but all animals, in my belief, are conscious beings. So I'm not sure why we draw the line at intelligence. It's very interesting. I think it's really good to have these conversations because it really can shift how we operate as a culture, as a society. I think one of the scariest thoughts about this woman and some of the theories I started to come up with as I kept watching reactions to her was, what if this woman did it for attention? And then I started to think about this idea of people torturing animals for views, and that's definitely unethical. But what if you just watched a farm TikTok show the slaughter of animals, or maybe factory farming TikTok that showed how you get chicken every day, or beef or pork or whatever else you're eating? If showing how you get your meat every day on TikTok is considered animal torture, then why are we justifying the consumption of animal flesh? That's the question. With that said, I would love to hear your thoughts, whether you disagreed with me or not, whether you think this lady is in the right or not. I would love to hear your thoughts in the sections down below. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.